Welcome back to another episode of Front Row Cinema, a movie podcast for movie lovers by movie lovers. I am your host, Teacher Trimboli, and with me, as always, my co-host, all the way from Krakosia. I got Mr. James O'Reilly in the house tonight.
How's it going, buddy?
Good. How are you doing tonight? I know there was a coup in your home country, so I'm glad you were able to take the time tonight. Welcome.
Things are looking pretty bleak,
Yeah.
but you can actually get some pretty good work at JFK, the international terminal.
Go figure.
I'm holding out hope.
There you go. And holding out hope you shall. I see good things in your future. You know, it's a good time to be in America right now for foreigners.
Yeah, yeah, totally. What could go wrong?
What could go wrong? I couldn't tell you. And each week we take a look at my 1,000 movies I've seen in theaters, and we see how well it's aged, along with the hype surrounding the film, its box office analysis, and legacy in the film industry. So if you enjoy this kind of content, hit that sub button on YouTube, leave that 5-star review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It's how you help the channel grow. Let's get to 1,000 on YouTube, baby. Let's go. Jim, what are we watching tonight?
I'll get to that in a second, but I want to start with a question.
Okay.
Who does Catherine Zeta-Jones think she is, bro? Like,
Well, has she
I am
wronged you in some
so
way?
I am so bent out of shape about this movie. We're watching The Terminal.
That's right, we are. We're the 2004 rom com. Would they call it? IMDb labeling it a rom com. Rom com we'll go with. Directed.
That seems like an interesting choice, but okay.
We could go dramedy. Dramedy. You could go rom com. I could see it in either direction.
I
Uh,
think this is just a straight comedy, but that's just my opinion.
okay, or we could go straight comedy. I can hear the case for it. We'll put it on the docket. You know, the Terminal versus James O'Reilly, 2025.
Yeah, yeah.
Put it on the board. Directed by the maestro, Mr. Steven Spielberg. Written by, I'm going to get this first person absolutely butchered, Sasha Gervasi and Jeff Nathanson. Jeff Nathanson, an easy one. He wrote a lot of mid 2000s Steven Spielberg movies, so a returning person here. And starring Tom Hanks, Catherine Zeta Jones, and the Tooch, Mr. Stanley Tucci.
The Tooch was really bringing the heat in this one
Yeah,
too.
the Tooch always comes ready and willing and ready to perform. Uh, couldn't believe it. We were very shocked to learn this. I could have always sworn the Tooch was gay, and he's not.
I
Married,
think you've
married to a
maybe
lady.
seen Burlesque one too many times.
I
No, there's like a couple of movies. Is he also in The Devil Wears
think,
Prada?
yeah,
I
he's in
feel
the
like
Devil Wears
he
Prada.
plays gay people in movies a lot.
Yeah, he played a very very great gay performance in The Devil Wears Prada. So I think everyone just always assumed from that point like he had to be because he just did it so well. But
Can I
no,
ask why? Where did you find out about Tucci's sexuality? How is this gonna come up?
so I actually learned about it because he's married, I believe, to Emily Blunt's sister.
Oh,
Yeah. So and because there was Heather very deep into the pop culture
oh
referendum. Like
God!
she knows everything. So she's always giving me the
All of a
hot
sudden, it
gossip.
makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I know way too much hot gossip about celebrities than I ever really needed to. And she
Is
pulled up a
Emily
picture.
Blunt's sister an actress? Is she
Uh
like in things?
I couldn't tell you.
Holy crap. What level of tabloids are you into when your Emily Blunt's sister's marriage is on your front and is like in your brain somewhere?
Listen, Jim, outside of knowing their names, I want to know as little bit about celebrities as possible. So the fact that I even know this much is I'm already in too deep.
Yeah, I mean, like, I know Emily Blunt is married to John Krasinski because it's like I've seen one too many clips of late night talk shows. It's the only place anybody ever talks about shit like that.
Yeah,
But who even is Emily Blunt's sister? This is so stupid.
I don't know.
Emily Blunt has two sisters, Felicity Blunt and Susanna Blunt.
There you go. What a family right there. And one of them married to the Tooch.
21-year age gap. Ooh, I don't know, Felicity. You might,
Ooh, well, so
you
it's
might,
it's Felicity.
what?
It's Felicity is the sister that's married to the Tooch.
Yeah, you've driven me to page6.com and I will never
Oh,
forgive
hey,
you. I'm
see,
currently reading about how Tooch was afraid. He almost tried to break up with Emily Blunt's sister Felicity over 21-year age gap.
Ooh, I mean, 21's a lot.
It's a lot. I mean, like, depending on how old Felicity is, like, maybe it's not so bad, but
Listen,
I
I
gotta
mean,
say, Tooch, if you're worried about it, I got some questions. That's all I'm saying. Like, if you think it's inappropriate, maybe it is, you know?
listen, if you guys are both consenting adults and you're happy, all the more power to you, Tooch.
So he's 62.
The Tooch deserves happiness, damn it.
Oh, and it's after he lost his first wife to cancer. That definitely puts a
Oh,
factor.
yeah, listen. Tooch, the Tooch needs a win, all right? Let the Tooch be happy. I don't mean to be blunt.
Oh, he met her at the premiere of The Devil Wears Prada. Dude, I gotta get off page 6. We're so
Oh,
far off
see, dude,
topic.
you're thick in the weeds, bro. So this is how it
I'm way
happens.
too far in the weeds. I know way more about Stanley Tucci's second marriage than I ever care to.
This is how they sucker you in, man. What a wicked web it weaves.
I
Th-
guess. I don't
this is the good. This is the stuff Heather lives for right now.
It
Like,
blows my mind that we like can find an article that has so much detail about this. It's Stanley Tucci isn't even that famous. Like
hey, you bite your goddamn tongue.
I mean, he's famous, but he's like closer to a that guy than he is to like Tom Hanks levels, right? Like
Pooch,
he's not like a household name.
Pooch is a revelation. All right, Jim.
I mean, I guess not just anybody's marrying into the Blunt family.
True, man. Come on, you think it's easy to get into the Blunt family?
I don't know. In Central Park, I feel like you can get into the Blunt family. I'm just saying. The bar for entry can't be that high.
Nice. I see what you did there. We got our DVD cover here because, of course,
Thank God. Please save me from
I
this.
will. I'll pull you back out from the depths that you've sunk. Because I always got to have every Spielberg movie on some form of physical media because he's the king. He's the best living director of all time. Prove me wrong. You got a lovely
I
log
got
line.
nothing. I haven't put that much thought into it. I won't
Hey,
fight you on that.
yeah, good. Yeah, you're damn right you won't. We go to the back. Ash, oh, Jim, a movie's coming in hot when the one little blurb it's going to put on our DVD cover comes from the maestro himself, Mr. Roger Ebert.
Oh boy. Okay, we're
Oh,
getting into this early.
yeah.
Ebert, I think me and Ebert are going to be in lockstep on this one, but I'm
All
interested to
right.
see what you have
Interesting.
to
All right.
say.
So I'm not going to say the blurb because I don't want to bury the lead here. We're gonna save that for later.
Yeah, save it. Save it. That's good.
Just will be interesting to see if you and Mr. Ebert link up here on this one. But we got our lovely little log line on the back here, and it reads: After arriving at New York's JFK Airport, Victor Navorsky gets unwittingly caught in bureaucratic glitches that make it impossible for him to return to his home country or enter the US. Now, caught up in the richly complex and amusing world inside the airport, Victor makes friends, gets a job, finds romance, and ultimately discovers America itself.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a pretty great blurb. That's like one of the better blurbs we've had so far.
Yeah, now that's a goddamn log line right there.
Not a lot to say about it other than it really captured how I felt about the movie.
I mean, any movie where I can discover America itself is definitely top of the charts there for me.
Hey,
Uh,
what is this DVD think I'm Christopher Columbus or something?
hey, yo, we discover America to America. Is this a first time watch for you, or did you see
Yeah,
this back in the day?
I've never seen this. The
Oh,
only thing I was familiar with was the like when he started returning the carts to get quarters so he could buy food. That's the only part of this movie I knew, and that was through like osmosis, like through pop culture, not from actually watching the movie ever.
all right. Yeah, no, because I did not see this movie in theaters with any of you guys. I saw this with Big Rob because, big Steven Spielberg guy. Uh, the Trimbolis love Tom Hanks. That dude is that guy's top of the charts in this
Yeah, I
family.
mean, who doesn't?
Yeah, so we will always represent on a Tom Hanks movie. So we went and saw this movie together, and I remember being big on it back in the day. I remember back then, like it got decent reviews, but not a lot of people were high on it. But I was high on it back then, and that part and parcel back then was not as savvy as I was or could understand why I liked it back then. So it was
Yeah,
interesting to go back to it this time because when I rewatch Spielberg movies, this is never really one that I go back to, despite liking it a lot when I was a kid. So I was interested to see watching it this time if I would be able to understand why I liked it so much back then, or if I would find new life watching it this time and being like, there's a reason why I never returned to this one
Right,
when I go
right.
for
Yeah,
my
it is
Spielberg movies.
interesting because it feels like it's one that doesn't get brought up a lot in the Spielberg catalog. Like
Yeah,
obviously he's got like all-time classics in there. And like this is like the kind of movie where if you had asked me about it 2 weeks ago, I wouldn't have been able to tell you who the director even was. You know what I mean? Like I would have been like, oh yeah, that Tom Hanks movie where he's in the airport. Yeah.
but like when you're consistently at the top of your throughput of just fantastic movie after fantastic movie after fantastic movie. Like sooner or later, like even your like good ones that aren't quite up to masterpieces but are still great storytelling, sometimes they slip into the cracks. And this
Yeah.
seems to be one of those ones that slipped into the cracks. So it's fun to return to this and see if maybe it'll find new life going forward for me where this won't be one that slips through the cracks again. This will now enter into the catalog of I will return to this when I want to rewatch Spielberg movies. And we'll see. We're going to dive into it.
Yeah, let's
But
talk about it.
yeah, we're going to talk about it. That's what you're here for. And we're going to give it to, and we're going to give it to you. But first, very interesting box
You
office
said
life.
Hurricane fans don't call. Well, we're calling.
Yeah. Well, we're calling. You
You're
say, yeah.
calling to say you're
Calling
calling.
to say you're calling. Yeah. Well,
We'll talk about it.
I'm a Florida fan and I'm calling. So you're calling to say you're calling. And that's what we're doing here. We're calling to say we're going to dive into some box office numbers because that's what we do here. We dive head first into box office numbers. Let's do it, Jim. Let's cue it up. Let's dive into these juicy numbers.
Numbers, dates, and numbers, numbers, dates, array, dates, numbers. Show me the money.
All right. Terminal is going to open the weekend of June 18th through June 20th against a $60 million budget, which seems high for this kind of
Seems
movie.
it seems high, but it makes a lot of sense when you learn that they just built that airport scene to scale.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
was gonna say it looked like a very real airport. Like,
they built that to be like a stand-in work. Like they actually like hired people to work those shops to make it look and feel like an actual like place.
yeah, it felt like a real airport. I honestly, if I didn't know any better, I would have thought that they had filmed it like at JFK. Like,
Well,
obviously that's crazy though. There's no way they'd be able to do that. JFK
and
is like too
also
much of a madhouse.
JFK being our home airport, you can quickly tell from watching this that that looks nothing like the actual
I
JFK.
mean, yeah, that was my first thought when like the security terminals were red. I was like, ah, that's not JFK.
It was like, no, 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 no. But now knowing that like they built that whole place in like a hangar and staffed it how they did and did all of that stuff, it's honestly insane to me that this thing only cost 60. Like
Yeah, well,
it seems like it
I
should be
think
a lot more.
they're factoring into like the revenue from the shops, like the people
How
like
much
they
yeah,
actually they built an airport for this
yeah.
movie.
How
It's
much they
like
were pulling in,
they get
how
people flying, there's like a real Hudson News
how
like
much they built, how much they earned from that Borders bookstore every day.
yeah, do you know how expensive those massages are, dude? They're probably raking it in.
Oh man.
But yeah, that's interesting though, because I was gonna say maybe we were starting to get into the time period of like where stars like Tom Hanks and Catherine Zeta-Jones just cost a lot, but that makes a lot more sense that they built a whole airport for this movie. That's crazy.
It's nuts.
But I mean, let's see if it paid off for him, right? It's gonna open that same weekend as Dodgeball, and it's gonna open in second place with
Ooh.
a paltry $19.1 million.
Jeez. Absolutely, Jim. Very earned right there.
Yeah,
19.1, going to put us in the 55 spot behind Brother Bears 19.6 and just ahead of the Rundown's 18.
yeah. I mean, like when you're spending $60 million to make a Tom Hanks and Catherine Zeta-Jones movie that comes out in June, you're not really looking for Brother Bear as the one that you get
That is
close
the
to,
comp.
right?
Also,
Like,
like you would think just the name of Spielberg and Tom Hanks alone would pull in some dollars right there.
yeah, I don't know. This is an interesting one though. Do you think we've talked a lot about like release dates in these last like 5 or 10 episodes we've done? June 18th. What do you think?
It's a weird release date, Cotton. I'm not
It
gonna lie.
seems like a bad choice, right?
Yeah, I mean, I get it, especially when you're looking at this movies being more of like a light-hearted comedy, which is kind of like different from anything either of them have really. Well, Tom Hanks, big comedy guy in the '80s, but kind of like a new frontier for Spielberg doing this type of movie. So like I guess I get it in June because it's a lighthearted movie. June is, summer is the time where you want like lighthearted, just fun, turn your brain off type things.
Yeah.
But I wonder if that juxtaposition of that type of movie with Spielberg and Tom Hanks, where you expect a certain type of caliber from them, like maybe just didn't mesh well, and that's why it feels so out of place in the summer.
Yeah, I don't know. It just like I think the thing for me is this with Spielberg and Hanks especially, this feels like kind of like a almost like feel goody like maybe not quite Oscar bait, but like pretty close to an Oscar bait type
I mean, it,
movie.
it kind of feels like an old school, like Frank Capra style, like fantasy comedy movie, which it feels weird for the summer. Like this feels like maybe it should be closer to the fall, like closer to the
Yeah, like maybe
holidays.
like September or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a release date like that makes more
Also,
sense.
like I could see this being like a good, like lighthearted, like family movie. Like maybe this plays better around Thanksgiving.
Yeah, maybe. I think it's more at home in those fall holidays. Yeah, I do. Because I don't know, like summer, I just think of like bombastic action movies, and like Dodgeball's an interesting one for it to open against. I think it is very telling that Dodgeball kind of like kicks the shit out of it at the box office. You know what I
It's
mean? Like,
also so crazy that like you imagine opening up the trades that morning. You're Steven Spielberg. You're like you got beat by dodgeball.
yeah, I mean, it
It's like
makes
I used
I
to be the king of this town.
right, right, yeah. But I don't know. I think it's just because I know Spielberg's the director now, where I'm like, yeah, if you release this movie in November, it's probably getting nominated for all kinds of awards, and like it feels like it's got a home there. Whereas in June, I feel like this is gonna kind of like come and go really fast and get drowned out by a lot of the big summer movies.
It gets lost in the shuffle. And also like the type of comedy that it is not really like the one that goes with summer audiences, like you said. Like
Right.
the
It's
summer
kind of like
audiences want more lowbrow comedy than they do like this style of like whimsy
right. It's
comedy.
way more clever as a comedy than Dodgeball is, for
Yeah.
example.
Yeah.
So like it feels weirdly out of place to me. I don't know. But I guess we can kind of follow it here and see how this ends up, right? Going into weekend two, it's gonna have a 31.1% drop, which is not a bad number, but I mean they started below 20 million, so like it'd be hard to have much more than that, right?
If you're having
Um,
like above 50 drop off of 19.1, like pack it in.
right, would be like a unmitigated disaster.
Yeah,
So,
like we're done here.
but total number and placing here, right? So it drops down to fifth place with 13.1 million, which is already like it feels like it's running out of steam, right?
I mean, like good hold off of a 19 million. Like I'll give it that at least. Like that's a give it an
Yeah,
olive branch. Like that's a solid hold.
I mean it definitely could have went worse. Not
Yeah,
by much, but it could
exactly.
have. It's gonna lose out to a couple of notable openings that week. Fahrenheit 9/11.
Oh god, it rears its ugly head again.
And then this is more in line with what you were just saying about lowbrow comedies. White Chicks is in second place.
What's that opening weekend? Because we're not doing it, but I want to know what White Chicks opened up to.
19.7.
So like even
So it's still not great. It's
White
kind of
Chicks
a
outperforms
down.
you.
Yeah, but it outperforms you, yes. And I mean, it still comes in second. This is kind of like a down week for summer box office. I think July 4th is maybe when we'll really pick up. And I mean, we've seen a lot of big movies this summer. Like in the top 10, like the third Harry Potter movie is still in here. Shrek 2 is still in here. The real heavy hitter Garfield colon the movie is still in here. It's like stuff we've
Classic.
talked about, right? Dodgeball's obviously still hanging around, but it's kind of like a down week overall. But let's keep following the Terminal. Terminal in weekend three, it's gonna drop. It's gonna hold fifth place with
That's
7.8 million.
all right.
And
It's
this is when the summer movie season is really gonna get into full swing here. And I'm
I,
gonna go out on maybe the most stable limb of all time and say that our next episode is going to be Spider-Man 2.
can Spider-Man come out to play?
Yeah. So like now you're talking. Like the weekend before was kind of dead, and I wonder if it's because people were like, "Well, yeah, I'm not seeing Fahrenheit 9/11. I'm gonna go see Spider-Man 2 next week. What are you talking about?"
I guess like once you get close to this point, everyone's probably like, I want nothing to do with any weeks of Spider-Man. Like,
Right, right. Like even the weekend before, they're like, "Ah, that's okay. We're good."
yeah.
Like,
We're like, nah, nah, we're all right over here.
um, yeah, and then I mean, like, let's just ride Terminal out of the top 10, right? Because it's already kind of fading pretty fast. Weekend four. Oh, by the way, that was July 4th weekend, that third weekend. So
How did
also
you
pretty
how
big.
did you know it was July 4th weekend?
Well, you see, the weekend is July 2nd to July 4th, and that
Ah,
last thing I just said is
okay.
a big hint.
Okay, all right. That's right. The holiday's in the title.
Yeah, I've been studying my holidays, sir.
You're getting better. You're getting
I
good there.
even I even said to my dad the other day, I want to do something before Memorial Day, as if I knew exactly when it was. You would have been so
Exactly when.
proud.
There you go. End of April, right?
Yeah, of course, it's already passed. I did the thing already. Yeah. uh, no, but so that third weekend was July 4th weekend. Interesting for Spider-Man 2 to come out on July 4th weekend. Probably a pretty good decision. We'll talk about that next episode, right?
Yeah.
Weekend four, Terminal's going to be down in eighth place with just a shade under 5 million.
Coming in for a landing.
And not so finally in weekend five, it's going to be down in 11th place with
Ooh.
3.2 million.
Oh man. So yeah, the Terminal landing 4 weeks in the top 10. Not a spot Steven Spielberg is probably used to being in. He's joining other notable movies like Garfield the movie, The Day After Tomorrow, The Cat in the Hat, and Just Married.
Yeah, great company to keep.
Yeah, just where you want to be.
And like, I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but I feel like if this movie comes out in November, it's gonna stay in the top 10 for like 12 weeks. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's the kind of movie that will run really well through that time frame.
It probably has a lot more breathing room, and I think it just feels more at home in Thanksgiving. You know, more families are going to the movies together. Takes place in an airport. A lot of people fly around the holidays. Like it just seems like a
Yeah.
much better slam dunk.
Yeah, and there's like, I mean, like, there's nothing like super edgy about it, so it's the kind of movie you can bring like kids to, you know what I mean? Like, it's funny, which feels like it helps for like that holidays time, you know? Like, I don't know, like Uncle Tom's in town, like I guess like he would go see a movie and like he'll get a couple of chuckles out of this, you know what I mean? Like I always think about me and my dad visited family in Buffalo one time, and we took my one uncle to see that Harley Quinn movie, like Birds of Prey.
Birds of Prey, yeah.
Yeah, and me and my dad were like, that was pretty good. We enjoyed that. And like my uncle, I guess he's like a bit older than my dad, and like he's like, I don't know, out of touch. Like he's like very much like boomer middle America, and he like didn't like even understand what Birds of Prey was. He was just like, "What the fuck did we just watch? Like, what was that?"
Like
And I feel like,
someone get that man on IMDb.
right, he's the perfect guy to bring to the terminal, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like, he wouldn't be like too confused by the terminal. He would be like, "Yeah, the guy got stuck in an airport. Could you imagine?" Like,
A lot easier to swallow for the whole family.
right, like it's accessible, I guess is what I'm trying to say, for the
Yeah.
kind of people you need it to be accessible for around Christmas time. So I don't know, just an interesting choice overall.
No, I would agree with that sentiment. I think definitely a misplaced release date here.
And we'll get into some totals.
I'm ready to hear them. Was this movie saved by an international market, or are
I
we looking at a stinker here?
This is an interesting one, and I'm interested to see if you have DVD numbers this week. Um, Domestic, it's gonna finish with 77 point, let's call it 77.9. So not great against that $60 million budget.
No, that's
Real,
not.
real
Yeah,
bad.
that's not pulling it.
Inter International, Krakozhia is gonna bring it home here a little bit. 140.8 million,
Yeah,
which
like
feels like we're getting close to like now you're talking territory.
it's
For a
like all right,
worldwide total of 218.7.
right. So the international market once again here to save. I mean, listen, it's a global movie. Everyone flies. Like, come on, like it's international appeal. That
Yeah.
218 gonna put us in the number 42 spot behind Elf's 220 and ahead of SWAT's 207.7.
Yeah, see, that feels like Elf especially feels like a lot closer to where this movie's trying to be, right? Like, I feel like that's not a bad place to end up around in terms of worldwide total.
Sure. And they probably, if you give this, a holiday release like Elf was, probably even do better
It
than
probably beats
Elf's.
it. Yeah,
Yeah,
it probably
probably
beats it,
beats
I
it.
think.
Yeah. So, very interesting that the international market once again pulls out the win here and brings this movie back from the brink. We're really starting to see this start to pick up steam now, and the international market's really coming to play.
Yeah, I mean, it's coming to play. I don't know that I would call this Steam quite yet, but this is at least like where it turned this movie into like a small win, is what I would say.
I mean, heck, it saved it from being a bomb.
Right.
I do not have DVD numbers for you, unfortunately, Jim.
I bet you this movie did pretty
But
well, though.
I mean, 218, you already made, you got on the first base. So you got to imagine any type of DVD sales is still like, a good win for you guys to help pad that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see what the critics said because I can't imagine that a lot of people saw this movie. And maybe I'm tipping my hand here a little bit, but I can't imagine that a lot of people saw this movie and said it was terrible. So I'm very curious to see. Like, I would imagine, what I'm trying to say is, I'm sure the DVD sales were helped by a good reception.
And yeah, it's a pretty solid reception right there. It's 61% from the critics, 73 from the audience. 7.4 IMDb. Tough to swallow though, the B plus cinema score.
Oh, tough,
Yeah,
tough.
yeah. B plus isn't helping it. But
You know,
it shows that
you
for
know what it was? That harlot Catherine Zeta-Jones. Nobody felt good about that. I'll tell you that much.
they were like, yeah, I was along for the whimsy, and then that Harlequin showed up.
Dude, if they end up together, this is like an A cinema score easy. People left with a real bad taste, I'm telling you.
True, yeah. People wanted to win, and they didn't feel like they quite got that win at the end. So the people were there for romance, and they weren't satisfied with the Zoe Saldana romance. They needed the Tom Hanks romance for it.
Oh, you don't say. The girl who got married without ever meeting her husband? You mean that girl?
Hey, people get arranged marriage all the time, Jim. All right.
I'm just saying, even if she was into Star Trek, like Zoe Saldana could do better than a guy who like couldn't even go talk to her himself. Like I'm just saying.
Yeah, yeah, that's an interesting one, but we'll get there. We're jumping a little bit ahead here
Yeah,
because
sorry,
first
sorry.
we need.
I don't want to jump too far out.
Yeah, listen, Jim. First, we need to hear some sound takes from some sound individuals.
Okay, so I'm gonna go out on maybe a little bit slimmer of a limb.
Okay.
Are we gonna run into any people who are mad that Krakozhia is not a real country? Because it's
Um, I don't think we do.
okay. Because
I
as
don't
far as I'm
remember.
concerned, that's the same as a lot of the complaints we've been hearing.
Yeah, I don't remember how every review goes, but I don't think Procosia comes up as a concern in any of these. But we'll see. We'll see as we dive into them.
Yeah, yeah. Go for it. Go for it. I can
Yeah,
only imagine what crazy political stuff people will talk about.
we got our first one-star review here, and they write, even the wonderful acting of Hanks, Pucci, and Luna, and superb direction of Spielberg couldn't save this film's shallow, contrived, cliche script. What a failure. Who wrote that ending? This movie failed to portray clearly, confidently, or with any conviction any of the emotions we wish to experience during adventure. Love, envy, friendship, greed, desire, all half baked into a lukewarm, bland pie. Also, you might want to consider the validity of the IMDb voting, considering 110 people gave this movie a 10. Highly unlikely. And the next closest category, only 29 people gave it a 9. It seems that many studio marketing executives need to take a class or two in statistics if they plan on cheating. This is the most blatantly obvious vote loading I have ever seen.
Oh
Naughty,
no,
naughty, naughty IMDb.
they stole, much like in Krakosia, they stole the election.
What a coup d'etat.
Yeah. No, I mean, like that one's interesting to me because all of the things he was saying about things and emotions that you want to see in a movie, for most of this movie, I was like, how did they get all these in there for a movie about a guy in a fucking airport? Like, it's like I feel like it had all that stuff in spades. So I don't know. I'm gonna get up on my high horse and say that guy just didn't get it.
On that soapbox, Jim. This man needs to take a class or two in statistics.
Yeah. That is pretty ridiculous too, that he's like calling into question the IMDb voting system.
Counting the amount of people that gave each like category. It's like, dude, maybe like it's like I don't think you're like, why do you care?
Yeah, what if you just made a really great movie? Wouldn't more people give it tens than other scores? I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying.
Like I would never sit and look at a movie that I'd liked or disliked and been like, 110 people gave it a 10, but only 29 gave it a 9. That seems a little fishy to me.
I'm calling shenanigans.
Eh, There's no way that could have happened.
Yeah. It's not just that people have a different opinion. There's a high scale studio
Mm.
fraud going on.
High scale stakes place here, Jim. Our next person writes, it was awful and boring and painful. I was so bored and angry. I am still angry. It shows how Spielberg and Hanks and Zeta Jones can use their money and advertising clout to suck us all in. They make their money and stick us with 2 hours of their contrived and silly ego trip. Give me a break. This film is dopey. It will tick you off. Avoid it. The beginning is boring and stupid. It is based on the idea that this dope can't walk through 2 doors to get into the United States. With 40 million illegal aliens in our country, this is just so stupid.
Oh
Really
boy.
stupid. And the ending is an insult to your intelligence. However, I am glad to see that Catherine Zeta Jones is no longer a fatso. Jesus
What?
Christ, dude.
When was Catherine Zeta-Jones a fatso? I think I missed that week.
Never. Like I've
Right,
seen it.
never.
I've seen Entrapment and Mask of Zorro. This woman has
Yeah,
always been top of the line.
he dips beneath the lasers. Yeah. No,
Jim, did you
I
think he'd
don't
go
know.
the illegal alien route? Come on, you had to have seen that one coming.
I feel like the guy missed the part where Stanley Tucci wanted him to walk through the 2 doors so he could put him in a federal detention center, like instead of the airport. I feel like he really missed that part.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, this guy was so bored he didn't have a chance to even actually pay attention to what was happening.
Yeah. Just what is I can't imagine like outside of the time I had to watch American Wedding, and I had to watch that because we do this show, like, why would you ever get angry at watching a movie? Just leave. Like,
Like,
it's not
just
worth getting angry about at all.
if you don't like it, just like walk out. You
Except
have
American Wedding. I will submit that you can get angry about American Wedding because I'm still
yeah, all
angry
right,
about that.
easy guy. Like, dog, you're taking points from this. You taking pointers from this guy right now? You still
No,
angry?
I understand where this guy's coming from a little bit. I just feel like he got tricked because he was like, "Oh, Tom Hanks and Catherine Zeta-Jones," and then he didn't like it, and it's like, well, I mean, okay, let's just calm down, buddy.
Like, I signed up for Tom Hanks and Zeta Jones, not 40 million illegal aliens.
The illegal aliens is nuts. Also, how dare you compare my feelings about American Wedding to this guy's feelings about a Spielberg movie? Get out, get you get off your high horse, sir.
You'll never hop off my soapbox. How's the view
I
down
just
there?
I think this guy just didn't get it.
Yeah, well, just wait till you see our next person. See how
Oh
well he
boy.
got it.
Oh
Our
boy.
next review writes, the main purpose of the terminal is to make liberals feel good about loathing the Department of Homeland Security as a
Jesus
symbol
Christ.
of the U.S. government. And
Oh my
so, director Spielberg endeavors to create a Twilight Zone like environment where poor Tom Hanks is trapped as a citizen without a country by evil and ambitious Deputy Homeland Security Director, the Tooch. The movie can't even stay true to its own premise for 15 minutes. Tom Hanks is introduced to us as a Caucasian tourist who can't wait to indulge in popular New York City culture, but is so ill prepared he speaks no English at all. The Tooch tells us he can't grant asylum to this man who lost his country mid flight because Krakosia is too small and unimportant to America, yet CNN is showing footage of the government coup every 5 minutes. People are nasty to Hanks throughout the movie's first half for no reason at all, and we are treated to many different camera angles, focusing on really hopeless expressions on Hanks's face. I could go on, but I've lost interest, just as I did in this film.
I feel like that guy's not from America. Cause like that guy that guy's either a troll or he's not from America. Cause like first of all, CNN will play a coup anywhere at any time. They don't give a shit, dude. You could be on fucking Mars and they'll play your coup. They'll play your coup. Uh, Second of all, do you really need an excuse for people in America to like look shadily at people who don't speak English that are like visiting the country? Especially in New York, man. Like, New York's a very liberal place, but like, if you're just like not speaking English, people are gonna look at you weird.
In New York, you get looked at for anything, man. Like, they don't give a fuck.
Right, right. And then I mean, yeah, I don't know. Also in New York, you see tons of tourists that don't speak any English, right? Like, what is he supposed to go to like college before he goes on a tourist trip?
Right? Like it's there. He's a tourist. Like, why does he need to learn English? Like,
Why
I'm
would a Caucasian speak English in the first place? He's from Eastern Europe.
right. Like when I went to Paris on my honeymoon, I didn't learn French. Like you
Yeah,
just go.
exactly. Exactly. And you buy like a book and maybe you can say a few words you really need.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. I
That
know.
guy's crazy. I don't that guy's maybe my least favorite review of all time.
Nut jobs. Listen, we got to make the liberals feel good about hating the Department of Homeland
Yeah,
Security because
yeah,
that's
it's
that's
all
not
about
yeah, it's not something we could easily do on our own just by them
yeah.
existing.
That guy's bootlicking of the Department of Homeland Security coincides very strongly. It correlates very strongly with his low IQ opinions. I think he just didn't get it.
This review just actually is the Tooch is the Homeland Security director.
Yeah.
Guy's
Yeah,
giving us a
well, don't
bad
worry.
day.
We'll get into that part later because I got a lot to say about the Tooch as the Homeland Security
Oh
Director.
boy. I got one last one-star review here, Jim. And I added this one because it's not from the opening weekend. It's actually from 2023. But it is so goddamn insane. I had to include it.
Good.
Uh,
Let's hear it.
and so this person writes, it's unbelievable that this got made. Amateur hour. Pure schlock and a career low performance from Catherine Zeta-Jones. I've seen better student films. No wonder Spielberg's kids are prostitutes and Tom Hanks's are bipolar influencers.
Holy shit. Okay. So I'm going to stop you there for a second. And we've been doing a lot of saying that things were crazy, like just as crazy back in 2003, 2004. Maybe we were wrong. Like,
Like
maybe things are much crazier these days.
it's so insane to watch a movie about a director and be like, no wonder his kids are fucking horrible. Like it's like that's well, how does that equate to anything?
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Spielberg made
I
such a
take it
bad
all back.
movie.
The amount of personal vitriol that happens in the 2020s versus 2004, it's like not even close.
Night
That's
and
so
day.
nuts.
Like this movie, Spielberg made a movie so bad, I now understand why his kid is a prostitute. Is such an insane take.
Yeah, Tom Hanks gave his kids bipolar by making this movie. That's what that person was saying.
Like it's absolutely insane. And then they just
Oh
finish with
Lord.
they just finished after that with if a new director made this, his career would be over in the crib.
I mean, they're probably not wrong about that. That's actually probably true. But like that one's interesting too, because like the whole time I was thinking was like, man, they don't make movies like this anymore, and it's really bad that they don't, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking that exact thing when I was watching this. It was just like, dude, but like, where are these movies today? Like we used to do this like on a pretty consistent basis, and
Yeah,
now
yeah.
you
Back when
rarely
we
see
had
these at
movie
all.
stars, man, when you could be like, listen, Spielberg's attached, he's making it. Tom Hanks and Catherine Zeta-Jones are in it. You could get a studio to do anything if you said those three things.
Sure, you really could back then. Now we switch it over to our 10 stars here. And this first person writes, while The Terminal has been marketed as a comedy drama, this really is a true comedy with some dramatic elements. Unfortunately, our society has been dumbed down to the point where people think comedy means Austin Powers. Here, Spielberg has succeeded completely at creating another classic, and Tom Hanks creates the most endearing character he has played since Forrest Gump. Sadly, we have reached an appalling mentality among many filmgoers, especially those who congregate on the internet, wherein any upbeat movie that makes you feel good is trashed, regardless of quality. Anyone of even moderate intelligence realizes that there is room for many types of films, and a truly well made feel good movie, which is not shamelessly manipulative or contrived, can be a great thing, which is exactly what The Terminal is, along
Dude,
with
I think
being the
this guy
best
might be
film
cooking. I don't
of the
know.
summer.
This guy might be cooking.
It definitely cooked in the second half right there. Like,
I think he cooked the whole time, man. He was on to something.
got right on point about all you chuds on the internet.
Yeah, how do we elect this guy president?
Yeah,
Like,
right. We need to get this guy on point right now. Give him a cabinet position. Let him pass some laws in Congress because this guy
yeah.
gets it.
I'm not sure if that guy is just the greatest reviewer of all time, or if we've both been radicalized to the point where we agree with this 10-star review, and we're crazy now. Like, I'm not sure where we're at, but
At what
I
point in
don't
your
know.
life?
At least
What
we agree.
they ask you like 20 years from now? What point were you radicalized? Oh, it was when I read this great review on the terminal. Like,
Yeah.
never looked back.
Well, no, it happened sometime before this, but usually when we read these 1 and 10-star reviews, we're always like, both of them are crazy. This is the first time where I was like, dude, I want to be that guy's the greatest. Like, I
Like,
agree with everything he just said, actually.
exactly what he was going for, and I'm here for
It's like, have we been the 10-star reviewers all along?
it.
I
Maybe the
don't
friends
know.
we made were the 10-star reviews we got along the way.
Yeah, right.
Our next review, and they write, this film is a work of art. From beginning to end, I love the way Victor Navorsky lived in the terminal. Even though I do not really like films based on true events that get the facts wrong, this one was great because not many people know that this is a true story.
What?
What, guy? Excuse me. And then he just finishes, but when it really happened, the man lived in the terminal for 15 years. I love this. Jesus, guy. It's like
Dude, what?
that helps me. Why was this a 10-star movie for you? Oh, because I don't really like movies that are based on true events. But this one was great because it was based on a true event.
Wait, there was not a guy who lived in an airport terminal for 15 years, was there?
Yeah, this is actually based on a story about a dude who lived in the Paris airport, the Charles de Gaulle, I think is what the airport's called.
Yeah, 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 that's the one
And
in Paris, yeah.
yeah, and he lived there for 15 years.
Jesus.
Yeah, nuts. I don't know what the specifics were, why he was stuck there for 15 years. I don't think it was the same as it is in this, where it was like a coup and like they didn't recognize it. But yeah, he lived there for 15 years,
That's so wild.
which is fucking nuts. Like you just lived in an
It is
airport for
nuts,
15
yeah.
years. Like that's at some point I would be like, I think I'd rather just kill myself.
Yeah, I mean, airports are pretty terrible all around.
Like absolutely not. No, thank you. We got another person here, and they write another unusual from Man of the Differences, Steven Spielberg. Try to wrap your head around that sentence.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm already lost.
The film shows the outer side of the states, the side when we look from foreign countries. God, Jesus, guy, like you're killing me.
Okay, so this guy is just actually Eastern European.
Probably. The film subjects an unusual character and his love with an unusual girl. Also, other unusual characters. Friends. Dudes, like, why? Spielberg's style is to look the routine things with an against way, and I like this. Looking thing with a different mind gives us the power to recognize different things.
I mean, This guy might be cooking too. I wouldn't dismiss him yet.
Spielberg shows how an American dream can become an American nightmare. The country of freedom can be a prison at some circumstances.
Okay, I take it all back. He's gone down a weird road now.
The film worth the watch. You will laugh, cry, and think. Oh, he pulled it back. He pulled it back.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's pretty cool that the Hulk liked this movie.
Hulk like movie, unusual character, unusual girl, friends.
Hulk make Hulk laugh, cry, think.
Hulk smash his way to theater. Must watch.
Yeah.
Oh god, absolutely amazing. We got one last person here, and they write. I think about 75% of everyone has missed this movie's greatness. I know it starts off rather strong point, but I find it very hard to believe why so many of you think that this movie is, and I quote, lesser efforts. Oh no, what will we do? There are no spaceships, no CG effects, no people running across water. This movie is definitely one of the best movies of the year. What the movie industry is missing nowadays are good stories with good acting, minus everything else. You don't need to be the next Matrix to be a good movie. P.S. Those suck. Now, I had this talk with people and they say, well, Lord of the Rings had good CG along with story and acting. And well, yeah, it does. However, if you could have found 60,000 odd orcs looking for a stand in roles for a movie, then the CG element would be totally dismissed, would it not? Newsflash, buddy, the orcs were just people in costumes, you dumb fuck. Stop being a stupid 14-year-old whose movie sense is about as high ranking as a pineapple, and a bad pineapple at that.
All right. That guy, I was worried there for a second because I was about to be like, our second 10-star viewer is just on fire, but he turned it around. He got me off of his side by the end. What does that even mean? They're a pineapple?
I don't know how your rankings are as high as a pineapple. I have very many questions about what he's thinking about here or where his line of thought process is taking him.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
He's just lost in the sauce.
Yeah,
But
I'm
all
not
right.
gonna lie though, the first like three sentences, one of us might as well have read it. We're like, movies just don't have good stories and acting anymore. Not everything can be the Matrix. Like that sounds like what I say all the
Adam, but at this point now, Jim, let's turn it over to us. Where does this movie rank on you as its liberal propaganda against the Homeland Security, all the way up to if you don't like this movie, you're as stupid as a pineapple.
time. I don't know if I'm gonna say you're as stupid as a pineapple, but I think if you don't like this movie, you are stupid and you just don't
You
get it. No,
just don't like movies.
I like I went into this movie with the idea that I was not gonna like it. I went into it saying like there's a reason I haven't seen this in the like 20 plus years since it came out. If a movie that Spielberg and Tom Hanks made was any good, I would have like watched it by now, you know? Like somebody would have recommended that I watch it by now. Um, and I was like totally disproven. Like I thought that this movie was delightful, basically from the opening jump, you know?
Delightful is like the perfect adjective to use too.
Yeah, and I think the reason I would say it's like a straight comedy, because I do think there was kind of heavier moments, right? And I do think that there was a lot of like humanity in there for me to sink my teeth into, and especially like, I'm never gonna forgive you, Catherine Zeta-Jones. How dare you? Like, um, but like for the most part, like throughout this whole thing, I was just laughing like a lot more than I thought I would be. Like I did not come into this expecting it to be funny at all, and I thought it was actually pretty hilarious.
Like we forget how good of a comedy actor Tom Hanks was in the 80s. Like he crushes comedy in this movie. Like he is very funny.
Yeah, yeah, no, he's hilarious. Yeah. And I mean like I'm struggling to think of like there's just so many little bits, like so much like physical comedy that happens throughout it and so much like I don't know, almost like Three Stooges-esque like situations that are happening like between him and other people in the airport that they all like most of them land and his like very silly like bad Eastern European bad English is like really funny like throughout most of this.
It's very like old school style of comedy. Like that reminds me of stuff like early like Charlie Chaplin, like the Marx Brothers, like the even all the way up to like Naked Gun and stuff like that, where it's just like very funny situations and it
Yeah,
has
yeah,
very good like wordplay at times.
yeah,
And it's a testament, I think the biggest credit has to go to Tom Hanks in this movie because like at this stage, it blows my mind still how well he's able to embody a character because this movie very easily could
yep,
have just been like, oh, I'm watching Tom Hanks just try to do an accent. But like I fully buy him as this person. Like I'm not even thinking while
yeah,
I'm watching this, like it's just Tom Hanks. Like I'm fully bought in that he is this Eastern European dude and not just like some American guy doing an accent. Like
yeah,
he kills that throughout this movie. And one of my favorite scenes is when the Tooch calls him in because he has the bright idea to kind of trick Tom Hanks into claiming asylum so that he could dump him off and not be here. And he's
right.
explaining it to him where he's like, he's like, so basically, like, if you feared for your life to return home, like, you could apply for asylum and we can get you out into America today. And Tom Hanks is like, oh, cool, like, awesome, like, let's do it. And he's like, so you agree then? Like, you're afraid to return home to your country. And he's like, no. And he's just immediately like, no, 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 no. And
No.
like just the exasperation in the Tooch's face at that moment. It's just like he's like, fuck, man, I'm never gonna get through to this guy.
Yeah, and this movie is interesting for to me for like a few reasons. And one of them is what have we said about the main character of basically every comedy we've done so far? What do they need to be?
Gotta be a buffoon and stupid.
Right. And what is Tom Hanks absolutely not in this movie? He's not a buffoon, dude. He's like a very high character, very intelligent person from the jump, basically. And like maybe he comes off a little bit buffoonish in the beginning because he doesn't really speak English, right? Like he's just kind of like yesing them to death in the beginning because he has no clue what they're saying.
Well, it's more
But
like
like
it comes from it being a fish out of water. Like it's not he's not an idiot. It's just he's a stranger in a strange land.
right, right. And I mean like I guess you could say that he doesn't necessarily follow what Stanley Tucci is saying in that scene you were just talking about specifically. But at the end of the day, he's not a buffoon in that scene. He's like a high character individual with values. He's like, yeah, like whatever. But I'm not just gonna lie to you about being afraid to go to my country because it'll help me out. Like he's like, that's a crazy thing to do. I'm not doing that, you know? Uh, so like it was just interesting to me for that reason because like to me very much not a buffoon. He's like a actually very intelligent guy. He's like he can build like murals at Gate 67 like out of like broken plates that look like fantastic. And maybe the fountain didn't work. Okay, the fountain didn't work. That's something. Like he didn't quite get there.
And he's a construction worker, not a plumber, right?
Right, right. Like he's able to like find work while living at the airport. Like he's
Is
not
that one
like
of
a
Tommy's guys? Take him off the job. I
yeah,
want him on mine.
yeah. He's not a helpless kind of buffoon the way we've seen in a lot of these comedies. And the way that we've kind of said is very important for comedies. So I think that's pretty interesting to me.
Well, I like too the sense of this character, especially like you said, like he is this intelligent, and he's almost like reminds me very much of like an Indiana Jones type character, which is one that doesn't really change throughout the movie,
Yeah,
but
that was what I was gonna
he changes everyone around him just by him being him.
that was the second thing I was gonna say is that like in terms of story, he's never a different guy. He's always just great. And like almost in like the way we said that Sword and Sandals movies work, where your main character is just like a great dude and he brings everyone else to the light throughout the story, and then at the end everybody's just kind of like, man, wasn't that guy great?
Uh,
Like it fits that mold really well. Or like Victor Krakosha doesn't need to learn anything from you. He's like as put together as a person can be. Like he's he knows who he is, he knows what he's good at, he knows what's important in life. There's no flaw that I can point to. And like most of the things that are changing for him throughout the story are plot driven. And that's something, again, we've been very critical when movies do that. But somehow this movie does it in a way that's like masterful, where I'm never bored. I'm always invested in what's going on. And like, I want to see him like fix everybody's problems just by being him, you know? Like, it's so well done.
Well, it's such a testament to how good of a filmmaker Spielberg is that even though he, like Victor Navorsky, is a character that really doesn't change much himself throughout the movie, he is always acting with agency and is always
Yeah.
still driving the plot forward.
Well,
In
he always has a goal.
yeah,
That's the other big thing. He has like a lot of, he has the one big goal, which is he needs to get out of the airport and into New York City. But along the way, he has like so many little goals that add up and eventually lead him to that point.
well, because you see in like the beginning in the first one, like his first goal is to like find somewhere to basically like sleep and like hold up shop. And then from
Yeah.
there, it's like find his way to not go hungry. And he comes up with bringing all and like that's another great thing too. It's a very good roadblock movie. Is every time he comes up with something that's going to help him there, the Tooch is right there to take it away from him or find a
Yes.
divert it away from him so that now he's back to square one.
Yes. And that was another thing I wanted to bring up. That's what I was saying I wanted to talk about the Tooch later. In terms of an antagonist, the stakes in this movie are incredibly low, right? Like for most of the movie. I think we learn kind of how important they are to Tom Hanks really toward the end. Like we don't know what the hell's going on with that coffee can for or the peanut jar for most of the movie, right? And I think I just assumed it was somebody's ashes that he had agreed to spread in New York. And like they kind of like put a hat on that and were like, yeah, that's what you thought, but that's not what it was, you know? Um, but like the stakes are like pretty low for most of this movie, and somehow Stanley Tucci is like the best antagonist in a movie ever because I hate his guts so much. Like,
He's such a prick in this movie, and it feels like for the most part, you're just like, dude, why are you so like this? Because you never really get a sense outside of like if there was anything that makes him be that way in this airport, other than it's just like he is the machine that has to run the engine,
yeah,
and
I'll tell you exactly what it is and exactly why I hate him so much. He's drunk on power. He's been waiting for his ability to run this thing for, they like make a point to tell you he's been like waiting in the wings to get this power for a long time. It's something he's sought after, even though it doesn't even pay $19 an hour, which is like, Tooch, maybe you're aiming a little low. I'm just saying. Like, um, but like he's drunk with power and he's flexing it on this guy who is ultimately very powerless. You know what I mean? And like I think that's what the joy of most of this movie is seeing this guy who everything we know about him tells us that he should be powerless. He's like got no money, he can't speak the language, he's stuck in the airport, which is like the seventh layer of hell. Uh and he just keeps finding a way to make it work no matter what the guy who's drunk with power and has every ability to stop him tries to do to stop him. He just keeps finding a way to make it work, and he keeps finding a way to make it work just by being a pretty cool dude. Like
yeah,
it's
just
like
by
it's
just keep on chugging along. Well,
yeah,
it
there's
definitely
something
feels.
so satisfying about that. Like, and they just do it so well for like 2 hours. I love this movie.
Yeah, and it definitely feels interesting too, the type of movie that it is, and that a lot of the friends and people that he interacts with being immigrants, and
Yeah.
minorities themselves, and casting the Tooch as kind of like the all-powerful like US government engine that's
Yep.
almost like it's this system that's designed to keep these people down despite them being the unseen people that kind of keep this engine running.
Right. Right.
And
And it's
it's a
this
movie of their
bureaucracy
yeah.
that gives ultimately mediocre people like the Tooch the ability to decide the lives of these people who are in every measurable way 10 times the person he'll ever be. You know what I mean? Like, but somehow due to bureaucracy, he has the ability to like hold things over them, like God, there's something so hateable about it.
No, I really like that. that layer of this movie. It also has another layer that I find very interesting about this movie, especially in the sense that it's in an airport, and a lot of what you do in an airport is just kind of like wait around. And this
Yeah,
is also kind of like a movie where, despite him being in this airport, he has more agency than most of the people that come and go through this place on a daily basis. I think he
yeah,
has a really good scene. I think it's with Catherine Zeta-Jones, where it's like everybody is just kind of like waiting on something. You know, she's waiting on this guy to wake up and decide that he loves her.
yeah,
Diego Luna is, you know, waiting on this girl to like see him for who he is and like find this love. And Victor kind of comes in and is this agent of just like, you can't wait because maybe one day you'll get stuck in an airport for like God knows how many months, and you just kind of like find a way to just keep going. And so like it's this idea of like just continuing to keep trucking despite like whatever it is that you have in your life that you feel like you're just stuck in limbo on.
yeah. And like the interesting thing to me is like about what you just said is that he does wait for like most of this movie, but he's not waiting the same way everybody else is waiting. Everybody else is waiting in this kind of like, and especially Catherine Zeta-Jones is waiting in this kind of like helpless longing, like where they feel like they can't do anything about their situation. It's just been like prescribed to them. And meanwhile, Victor, whatever his name is, like,
I mean, you went Victor Krakosia before.
yeah, what's his name?
Victor Navorsky.
Victor Navorsky. Victor Navorsky is in such a worse position than you, and he's making so much more out of it just because the way he waits. He waits in a way that's proactive. He waits in a way where he's gonna go try the form every day with Zoe Saldana because he's got nothing better to do, and maybe one day it'll work. You know, I don't know. Like it's like, but he never loses that faith in it. You know, and like the way that that's kind of infectious for everybody else who's just in like a weird holding pattern that they're depressed about, like throughout the movie, is so cool.
Yeah, no, I love it. And I like that it also shows that there's no end to that waiting, but just because there's no end doesn't mean that you can't take control of it. Because we even
Yeah.
learn at the end with Tom Hanks that like his reason for coming here was to get the last signature for the can of all of his dad's favorite jazz musicians. And that's a thing that he's been doing for probably decades. And
40
the
years. They say he did it, his dad did it for 40 years.
yeah, yeah. So like it's this idea that you're always going to be waiting for something, but finding that agency and taking control of what you're waiting for and have it be a worthwhile thing is it's such an interesting concept to play in this movie about a man stuck in an airport. Like it's
Yeah,
it's
and I
it's so
mean,
good.
the stuff with his dad is so interesting too, and I feel like they drop it on you at like the perfect time, where it's like, to most people, I feel like getting a bunch of, jazz musicians' signatures would be like, I mean, to me specifically, honestly, I guess I can't speak for most people. I can speak for me. I don't think that's a worthwhile use of our time. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't do that.
I
But the
also would
point
not.
is that it was worthwhile to his dad, and his dad did his whole life and did all the other things he had to do and found something that meant something to him that he could put 40 years into. You know what I mean? And at the end of those 40 years, he made it. He did the thing. Even though he needed some help along the way, right? Like, there's just something, again, that's like so infectious about that. Where it's like, I don't know, find your jazz musician signatures thing. Find it and do it. You know what I mean?
And not only
Like
do it, but
find
like
the thing that matters to you and spend 40 years doing it when you can in your free time and like make it happen though, like
not
always
only
be striving toward it.
not only do it, but don't be afraid to get help along the way.
Yeah.
Because look at all the joy it brought everyone in this movie that got the help of him along the way. Like Diego Luna gets married,
Yeah.
the one dude is finally ready to face his fears and go back to his home country and his family. He's going to be reunited with his family despite if he ends up in prison or not, but like
Yeah.
every
Which
every
that guy's whole story was so funny because like I think he said he would have went to jail for 7 years. And it's like, dude, you spent 23 years away from your family. You already would have been back like so long ago.
Back ages ago. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
that guy was nuts. It is funny how like very slapsticky like all of his friends are because those are the moments where like I like it's so has so much whimsy and I still enjoy it, but it is absolutely insane to me, like we mentioned earlier, that Zoe Saldana and Diego Luna like get married immediately. Like the end game was him literally be like, bring this ring to her. And she
Yeah.
was like, I'm
Dude,
into that. Like absolutely insane.
I saw where it was going, and what I thought was gonna happen was like they were gonna like go on a date. And then like
And they were like,
and
nope, we're just
then
gonna get fucking married.
and then he was like, "Listen, Victor, I know we've never met this girl before, but I need you to bring her this engagement ring and really sell it." like, like that was maybe the craziest thing that's happened in all of the rom-coms we've done. That might take the cake.
Definitely takes the cake. But I do love that whole sequence of events of him going every day with the form and just asking her like little cute questions to like bring back to him for food. Like it's so just like it's just this movie is very whimsical in that it's just like leaves you with just like a good feeling.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, in reality, them getting married is crazy. In this movie, it's like the perfect beat for this movie
Yeah.
to have. Like, somehow it works in a way that, like, even though it doesn't make any sense, I'm kind of like, yeah, I'm really glad this is happening in the movie right now, you know?
So
Um,
great. Man with
like,
money or man with love?
yeah, yeah. They do enough of the legwork for me to enjoy it, at least, even if it's crazy. And, like, just going back to what you were saying, though, like the find the thing that takes you 40 years to do, but you were just hitting on what's maybe the most important part of this movie to me, which is like in the meantime, don't stop living life though. Don't stop being kind to the people around you. Don't stop don't stop like treating other human beings like other human beings. And eventually you'll get that saxophone player's signature. But in the meantime, you're with Diego Luna. Live in the moment, man. Like help him get his girl. Like strive toward the things you're striving for by being good to other people. Like God, this movie is so good.
And
Like
you see how it rewards Victor and takes away from the Tooch. Like when the
yeah,
Tooch implodes when the Russian immigrant like has the pills and Victor like helps him say that it's for goat
yeah.
and the Tooch implodes to the point that then his superiors like see him like implode and are like maybe this guy's not the guy because like that's a pretty like insane take for him to have.
Right, right. Well, no, that whole scene maybe makes the whole movie, right? Because it's the perfect way to show the difference between the two of them and why one of them is the main character and one of them's the antagonist. The Tooch doesn't get why he would do it. And it's a question that he asks a lot of people throughout the movie, which is like, why? Like, why are you doing this? And he asks it like pretty explicitly to Tom Hanks in that scene, and he just doesn't understand that he's doing it because it's the right thing to do. Like regardless of your bureaucracy, regardless of whatever stupid like statute or rule you have behind you,
Do
the
you
right
think
thing to do is let that guy bring medicine to his fucking dad who's on his deathbed. You know what I mean? Like have some humanity.
Do you think the Tooch finally gets it at the end when he runs outside and the other officers are like, should we send the cops after him? And he just goes like, we got the Tokyo flight coming in 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Like,
I think so. I think that's what they're trying to tell you. Yeah, is that the Tooch kind of gets it. Because realistically, the cab was like 25 feet away from Stanley Tucci, and there was a lot of cars in that line. Like, he could have stopped him. He could have
yeah,
stopped him, and he could have detained him, and he could have done whatever crazy shit he was planning on doing. But in that moment, he lets him go. And, like, it doesn't maybe my favorite part is that the Tooch never learns why he wants to go to New York. You know what I mean? He's after what's in that peanut can the whole time. And he never finds out. And I think at the end he kind of realizes like it doesn't matter. It doesn't need to mean anything to me. The important thing is that it means something to him. And that's a pretty good guy. He's probably not going to burn me for letting him go, like He's
He's like,
probably just gonna go do whatever he needs to do and then go back to Krakosia.
and he's like, and I'm in a position where I can help this guy
Right.
if I so wanted to. And like
Exactly.
that's the distinction is that like you should go through life in this position that you have to help people instead of
Yeah.
trying to catch people. Because
Right.
one of my favorite parts is when he catches like the people with the nuts or like the was like the peanut whatever it is, and they crack the
Yeah,
shells
the
open. And shit.
acorns. The
Yeah,
acorns.
yeah. And he's like, he's going to visit his mother. Like, where's the wedding ring? And he's like, and also, if they're not married, why still visit your mother-in-law? Like, he's
Yeah.
just like so strategic, and it's
Yeah, yeah. He's a
so
smart
good.
guy. He's a
Yeah,
smart guy, but
he
maybe
catches
he's
all the also like mildly racist at the beginning too, when he catches all the Asian tourists because he's like, you ever see an Asian tourist group with no camera? And it's like, Jesus, guy, like
I mean, not wrong though. As somebody who spent a lot of time in New York City, not too far off. Like
he's
he's
not
got a point.
wrong, but also like you didn't have to go there.
Yeah.
You're crazy, Tooch.
No, but like, and then I mean, maybe my last thought about this. I don't know. Because I feel like I could talk about this movie for like forever. Like I feel like I could talk about it endlessly. I'm gonna go back to something I said about one of our reviews, which is like, and all of this, maybe the deepest, richest, most relatable movie we've done on this podcast so far is in the movie about a guy being stuck in a fucking airport terminal. Like, how did they fit all of this into this movie? It's incredible to me that, like,
It's
I mean, like, I don't know. I feel like this is obvious to me. I don't know how you feel about it. But, like, you and I are both talking about, like, this movie as if it was important for us to have watched it right now. Like, we learned a lot from it. We felt like very cathartic about watching it. At least I did, you know?
oh, I was literally about to say it's a very prescient movie to what's just going on in the world right now.
Yeah,
Like this is a movie that a lot of people today could use because it's a very empathetic way to look at the world in a way in which like you probably should be looking at the world. If
yeah,
everyone looked at the world and helped each other like Victor Navorsky does, like we'd be probably a lot better off than like where we are right
yeah.
now.
And like, I mean, there's movies we've done that I've enjoyed, and I've enjoyed being kind of analytical about. There's not been many I can think of off the top of my head that felt as close to home as this one did, for me, anyway.
Well, I mean, no,
Uh,
it feels very close to home for me because JFK is right up the road.
yeah, there you go, there you go. But like, I can't remember the last time we talked about, like, got in the weeds of a movie this passionately, you know what I mean? And like, it is mind blowing to me, and it is kind of like a testament to this as like an art form that this happens in a movie about a guy getting stuck at an airport, right? Like it's
No, like this,
because I have every reason to dismiss this out of hand, and then when I watch it, I'm like, Jesus Christ, this movie maybe just changed my life. Like, you
it's
know what I mean? Like,
it's a beautiful movie that wins you over from the very first scene, and this movie is exactly what I want when I go to watch or sit down to watch a movie.
yeah,
Is one that I feel like I've learned something and can take away something at the end, but that is also just fun and enjoyable at the same time. Like you can
yeah,
get out of it that message if you want to take it. You can also just watch this at a surface level and just enjoy a fun movie about a guy stuck in an airport that's kind of just like Charlie Chaplining his way around and like helping people and just be
yeah,
like, that was fun. But like the fact that both of those layers are there,
right.
it's one of my
And
favorite things about movies.
I think the real masterful part about it is that like I can't. This movie's very profound. Whether I agree with it or not, it has something to say, and it has something that it believes strongly in that it has to say. And at the same time, it's fun and it makes me laugh. Like that blend is like just it's so important for movies, and it's like they don't make them like this anymore. I feel like it's
You
been a
know,
long time since I've seen a movie like this. Like it's been a real long time.
well, it just seems, especially in today, and I don't know if it's just because there's so much more committee soup these days, or that just screenwriters just aren't as prolific or good as they were back in the day, but something got lost along the way where we've lost the fine art of making a movie like this.
Yeah. And I mean, I know I've been pretty hard on Catherine Zeta-Jones throughout this whole thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm waiting to hear this big bone to pick you've built from her in this movie.
I mean, she's a terrible person. Like
She is, but
she
I think she also
I should say
recognizes in this
Amelia the
movie,
flight attendant is a terrible person, not
yes,
Catherine
not
Zeta-Jones
her
necessarily.
her
She's just
character.
playing a character.
But I
But
think
like,
her character is aware of that and is just unable to change at this point. That like she's one of
yeah.
those ones who's like, I recognize I'm stuck in this waiting game and it's a prison of my own making and I'm not going to get out of it. But
Yeah,
the
but
least
that's what I hate the most about her is that she does realize it and she refuses to do anything about it. You know what I
well,
mean? Like,
I think she realizes she's not strong enough to get out of it. And if there's one good thing that can come out of it for her, it's that she can make Victor's dream come true, which is to get into America. So she kind of sacrifices her own way out of that prison to kind of to
yeah,
give Victor his chance to go to New York. So
I don't buy all that martyr bullshit. She she's not giving him anything that he really wants. I mean, like he would have found his way into New York one way or another just by being Victor Dvorsky. That's what I learned about this movie. Um, I think that again, like I've maybe said this phrase a lot this episode, but maybe my favorite part is when they like, and this is something that good movies do really well, like where they've set enough of the context to where two characters can just look at each other at the end and like not even really say much and I get everything that I need to get out of it, you know?
yeah,
Um but like there's something like kind of important about him looking at her at the end where like Victor Navorsky's better than her and he has been the whole time and in that moment he's just like look I gotta let you go, you know, like I'm sorry you're stuck, I'm not gonna be stuck, I'm gonna do the thing I need to do and I'm gonna keep being awesome and then I'm gonna go home, you know. And that's what that look at the end means to me, you know? Like there's like a kind of like sadness to the fact that she can't be as good as Victor Navorsky, but
she
she just
can't
can't be.
escape that. Well, I think like it's also a way there to show, not only that there are people in life that won't be able to overcome that, and she's a character that reflects that, and I think she even knows that in that point that she's like, I'm not strong enough to overcome this, and it's a
Yeah.
way to show the audience that this is a rut that you can get stuck into if you don't have the
If you
courage.
let yourself.
Yeah, if you let
Is
yourself,
that
it's a prison of your own design, and that's
right?
exactly what we see from her at the end.
Because that's
your your waiting and unhappiness is a product of your own doing.
right. That's the thing that I think is so important about her character in this movie is that it's not that she can't, it's that she believes that she can't, and so she refuses to do it, you know? And there's like something so sad about that, and there's something that's so, at the same time, so important about seeing Victor Dvorsky look at her and be like, "Man, that's so sad that you can't, but I'm gonna go do it though. I'll see you later." Like,
Think and I can understand why maybe that would turn off like regular movie going audiences who just
yeah,
want to see like the two of them get together at the end and whisk off
right.
to that jazz club. But the movie is better for not doing that.
No, it is. It is better for not doing it. It's like the kind of thing where like you want them to, and like a kind of like by the numbers movie would probably make them do it, you know? But there's something about this movie that makes it so much more. It's gonna stick with me a lot longer because they didn't, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. You'll think about that last longing look between the two of them a lot longer than you would have if the two of them just whisked off to that jazz club together.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm right there with you.
Yeah, because like you gotta know when you see this movie, you could still be Catherine Zeta-Jones. When you go back with the guy who doesn't treat you right and has a wife, and you're making yourself Catherine Zeta-Jones, you know? Like, you need to know that that's an option a lot of people take to their own detriment. Like, that makes it more profound. Totally.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, it's just a tremendously well done movie, in just insanely crazy run that Spielberg has in the early 2000s. Very interesting for this movie to be coming out so soon after 9/11, to just be like a dude stuck in an airport type movie.
Yeah.
Very interesting. And it never
I
really
mean,
feels like a factor that has to come into play in this movie. Like it feels like it exists in a world that's completely outside that bubble. And again,
yeah,
I think the movie is all the better for doing that.
absolutely.
It's still but just very interesting that it comes out. So this is 2004. We're still so close to that. And it doesn't even feel like a factor that I even think about when watching this movie.
Yeah, it didn't cross my mind once.
And it never came up in our
Um,
one-star reviews either, which is insane.
right, which is
Like,
rare.
yeah,
It comes up
not
for like every movie we
yeah,
do.
9/11's a layup for
Is
those
is
reviews.
America healing? Question mark in
Uh,
2004.
I don't know. We'll have to wait till we get to the Spider-Man 2 reviews.
Yeah, yeah, we'll see.
Is there anything in this movie that doesn't work for you? We've been kind of like dick riding it pretty hard.
We have been. I mean, I'm trying to think like for a lot of the movies we watch, there's points in it where I really regret that I like signed on to do this podcast with you. Like where I'm just like, oh fuck, the next 20 minutes of my life are gonna be awful. Like, why would I have agreed to do this? And there's not like a single moment in this movie where I felt that way. Like I like was pretty engaged and pretty I enjoyed like the whole ride really. Up to and including like I thought at first that maybe the perfect ending was he just gets out of the terminal and gets in a cab and I don't need to know what happens after that. But even like that last like 10 minutes, like I think it was pretty cool. Like I think it was like a pretty good way to end it. I don't know. I guess that's my question to you.
Yeah,
Is like what did you think?
that nice little epilogue where like he actually does go to the jail. Because I completely agree with you. This movie could have ended as soon as he got into that cab and drove off, and the Tooch does the Tokyo's coming in, like, and I would have been completely satisfied. And like I would have been
Yeah.
like, I don't need it to see him go to the jazz club,
Right.
but
I
it
guess you know what? That's probably my only critique. Is like I still enjoyed that part, but it really didn't need to be there. Like if he just gets in a cab and Tucci lets him go, I think and the movie ends, I think it's maybe even better. Like
I could feel that. It doesn't. Yeah, and like nitpicks, but I could feel that too. Like as soon as he drives off in that cab, like we could have just like whisked away into the sky and like faded out, and I would have been, yeah, this is top notch.
yeah, because
Um,
at that point, do you have any question about whether Victor Kavorsky is gonna like complete his dad's dying wish? Like this guy's like an unstoppable force. He's gonna do whatever he wants to do. You know, like you don't need me to see it.
and I never for one second like question if like he's actually going to get to meet the guy or not. Like it's an afterthought at that point.
Right, right,
Like the point is that he gets to go and take the agency to seek it out, and
right.
that's all I need. Um, I'm with you. I don't really have, and anything I would have is more a nitpick, really, than
Well,
the
let's hear him
like
though. What
stuff that is.
nitpicks do you
Well,
have?
we kind of dipped into it already. It's just the ridiculousness of a lot of the stuff with his friends, in the sense that Diego Luna and Zoe Saldana get like just
Okay, yeah, yeah,
down,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
it's
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 pretty
it's
silly.
like,
It's
yeah,
pretty
it's like
silly.
very silly. It doesn't actively like ruin anything for the movie for me. It ties in, like we said, to the whimsy nature of the movie, but it is like almost it's like a shade ridiculous. And does have those moments where it's like it's almost too silly for its own good, like when the Tooch throws Navorsky up against the printer, and it prints out all the things of his hand, and everyone
Yeah,
starts
yeah,
like
yeah.
slapping it around like the airport. I'm like, this is so silly. Like it's so.
Right, but that was like the reason I think that works. Like, because I agree with you, that part is very silly. But the reason I think that works is because I really do think this movie is a pretty straight comedy. Like it's the perfect way for me to laugh at Stanley Tucci's like aggressive nonsense, like blowing up in his face. You know what I mean?
And like I said, it's nitpicks because like it's just like something that's super silly, but it doesn't like actively ruin the movie. Like there's nothing this movie does at any point that makes me like groan or be like, this is a turn I wouldn't have wanted.
Yeah, it all feels like it fits like really well.
Yeah, it's all earned, and it's definitely a movie to answer the question that I set up earlier. That when I do Spielberg runs again in the future, this is not a movie I will leave off. in the future. I will make sure that
Yeah.
this one is added to the repertoire because it absolutely deserves to be up there with a lot of the best that he's done.
Yeah, agreed. Um, I'm gonna skip over awards for IMDb
Okay.
because I don't really. I'm like kind of looking at it, and there doesn't seem like a lot to talk about.
It is
Uh,
interesting that, right? Because I don't think this really became like the awards heavy movie that they probably, hope when Spielberg puts out a movie. But maybe they weren't that concerned with that. Maybe they just wanted to do like a much more fun comedy.
yeah, I mean, there's no Teen Choice Awards, there's no MTV Movie Awards, there's no Oscars, and outside of that, I don't
Do
even know
you
that I'm interested.
do you think Hanks deserved a nom at least?
I mean, maybe that's an interesting thing to look at. Like, what Oscars would this have been? The
I would like to know,
2000.
since this didn't win anything, at least what the acting noms were, because I completely bought this man as an Eastern European. Like,
Let's see. I think it would be the 77th, right?
yeah, sure. Yeah, totally.
Well, I
I
don't know.
I would know that.
Yeah, that's a good point. The 77th is a silly way to say that.
Yeah.
So all right, I'm just gonna assume it was this one because Ray also came out in 2004, and it's the same, right? It's
Oh, God. All
that
right,
is
yeah.
one
So
of
this
the
is
noms.
this is the year that Jamie Foxx wins for Ray.
Yes, Jamie Foxx wins for Ray. Other notables, okay, there's some tough ones in here.
All right, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Don Cheadle in Hotel Rwanda,
Okay.
I think deserving of at least a nod.
Yeah, definitely deserving of a nom at least.
Uh, Johnny Depp in Finding Neverland.
I like that movie a lot. I don't know if that performance is better than Victor Navorsky.
I kind of agree with you on that whole statement. Leo gets nominated for The Aviator,
Fuck yeah, bro.
and then this is the one that maybe is the most interesting to me because I think this is a good movie, but I
Okay.
also think in the early 2000s Hollywood had like a weird respect for this guy because he just cranked out director movies on time and on budget. Clint Eastwood in Million Dollar Baby.
Ooh, okay. All right.
This one feels to me like at some point Clint Eastwood just acts like Clint Eastwood in every movie.
Yeah. And they were just
And
like,
I
they
wonder
love
if
it.
Tom Hanks in this movie was much more of a acting performance as opposed to like Clint Eastwood being like, "Hey, listen, I've been doing this guy for a long time. He's good. Trust me." you know?
Well, because yeah, I mean, Million Dollar Baby, fantastic movie, but he really is just like Clint Eastwood. Like he's just an ornery, like his character at that stage in his career was just play the ornery old man.
Yeah, and I mean like he Million Dollar Baby wins Best Picture. Um, he also wins Best Director. So like,
Yeah, I
I
remember
don't
that.
know if I maybe agree with both of those things. I think both of those things are pretty defensible. I don't know if him as Best Actor
I don't think he
over
needed the
Tom
nom.
Hanks in this movie.
I would definitely give the edge to Tom Hanks over both Johnny Depp and Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, Million
More
Dollar
so,
Baby.
more so Clint Eastwood, but probably still over Johnny Depp also.
Yeah, Million Dollar Baby does really well at these Oscars though.
Well, what's it? It wins director,
It wins Best
picture.
Picture, Best Director.
Morgan Freeman
Hilary
wins, right?
Swank wins for Best Actress. Morgan
Yep.
Freeman wins for Best Actress in a Supporting. I mean, those are all like pretty big time awards. Yeah.
They're the ones actually putting in the top performance too. Like Clint Eastwood has the least flashy thing to do in that movie out of everybody.
Yeah, I
Which
mean,
isn't to
like
say it's a bad performance. Like he does
If Clint
exactly what the
Eastwood
movie
gets
needs.
nominated for Million Dollar Baby, doesn't he get nominated for Gran Torino too? I mean, he's just the same guy. Like,
It's the
it's like,
same
what
thing.
are we talking about?
He's just ornery old man, like acting now. It's like, come on, what are we doing?
Yeah.
But yeah, so to answer the question,
Um,
Tom Hanks probably should have at least got the nom.
yeah. I do want to take a quick look at Spielberg here.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
We're
Never,
obviously not gonna go through like a bunch of Spielberg's credits, but this is something we do for a bunch of directors. I kind of want to see like what the 3 or 4 movies around this were.
yeah, I would say if you're gonna hone in on Spielberg at all, that like from 2000 to like maybe like 2008 run is like should also be studied because a lot of times when people go to Spielberg, obviously like the first instinct is to go to when he like basically overhauled Hollywood in the 70s and 80s and became the guy,
Yeah,
all the way up into the early 90s when he dropped Jurassic Park and Schindler's List in the same year.
I
But
mean, I'll
that
give you a
2000s run is like so fucking solid.
right. I'll give you a run we've talked about before that I think is still worth mentioning. Right,
Okay.
1975 Jaws, 1977 Close Encounters of the Third Kind, 1979 1941, which is that kind of like goofy Dan Aykroyd comedy, and
That's
then
a stinker right there.
1981 Raiders of the Lost Ark are four movies he directed in a row. So like, like those are all like, I mean, three out of four of those are like all-time Hollywood classics, right? Like all time. And it's hard to top that. But I do think what you're saying makes sense. So like, let's just look, the two movies before The Terminal are Minority Report and Catch Me If You Can.
Like that's that three run right there. Like to do
But
Catch Me
to
If
The
You Can,
Terminal, that's
then
an
put
insane three
yeah,
movie run. That's
then
an
put out
insane
Minority
three movie
Report,
run.
and then put out fucking The Terminal. Like that's insane.
Then he follows up The Terminal with 2005's War of the Worlds.
Like come on.
And then, I
I
mean,
no, didn't you? I think you forgot one in there. Isn't there another 2004 movie?
I don't see another 2004 movie listed in his directing credits.
Didn't Munich also come out in 2004? Or was that oh
2005,
5?
that was the one I was going to say
Oh,
next
that was
after
I
War
don't
of
know
the
why
Worlds.
I honestly thought that came out in oh 04. Gee, dude, he
I
put
was going to say
Munich and War of
maybe
the
the
Worlds
best
out.
out of the five movies we just talked about. Munich is like so good. Like,
He puts Munich and War of the Worlds out in the same year. Like this dude,
yeah. And those between 2002 and 2005, Minority Report, Catch Me If You Can, The Terminal, War of the Worlds, and Munich. That's an insane run. That's
dude,
an
that's a fucking
insane
run.
run.
Like there's no misses there. Like that's a fucking run.
No, there's no misses, and like it's kind of an incredible like flex in the sense that he's like those are all like very different movies, I would say. Like Minority Report is kind of just like a straight like crime action movie starring Tom Cruise, right?
Yep.
uh
Absolutely.
Catch Me If You Can is a comedy, but it's a much different comedy than The Terminal is. The Terminal is very different than both of those movies. War of the Worlds is kind of another Tom Cruise action movie, but like in a very different way than Minority Report is. And then Munich is like a political thriller. Like he's like flexing all of the muscles over a period of 3 years with five movies. Like he's the goat, dude. Like
Not only that, because like you could look at his early movies like Jaws and Raiders, and all those are like he like that was him just being this incredible eye for visual blockbusters. And then he took how good he is at making those blockbusters and was like, what if I did that, but I had these like intense messages in every single one of these movies? Because like Munich blends all of those elements of that he does so well in that visual blockbuster nature and then puts it around this insane story of revenge swallowing you whole. Like,
yeah,
and
well,
it's
Munich,
mad.
but like that, yeah, it's a movie about revenge swallowing you whole, but it's also maybe the best spy movie like ever made. Like like it's a spy movie at the end of the day. It's like it's about spies doing a spy kind of mission and like the mission is about revenge, but like it's a spy movie with like a pretty insane message and it's like very tense for the whole like 3 hours. Like yeah, he's the goat, dude. I mean like those two, like we just gave a four movie run and a five movie run that like I don't know that anybody else we talk about in the show could ever top.
It's why, he's often considered by many people to be the greatest director of all time and my personal favorite director of all time.
Yeah. I
The
don't know.
man is
But I
all
mean,
hits.
I think that's all I really have for IMDb. I think it was worth looking at like that 2000s
Yeah.
run for
That
Spielberg,
specific
and
run.
that's
Like,
really all I got.
and it's extra crazy to think that like that was our Spielberg growing up. Like that's the stuff we were getting in theaters. Like, and
Yeah,
it's so interesting to look back on it now, like as an adult watching these movies and seeing like all the themes in there that I didn't always pick up on when we were kids growing up, and just being like, dude, we were fucking eating good.
yeah, and I mean, like, we're maybe like, I mean, if you go back even like 4 years before Minority Report, artificial intelligence comes out between these two movies, but his feature, two features before Minority Report, is Saving Private Ryan in 1998. I mean, like I don't know that like anybody's in their bag as much as late 90s, early 2000s Steven Spielberg was.
Yeah, like and we got to grow up with that. 90s and early 2000s, like, and he was just firing on every cylinder.
Yeah.
So like it's how do you even rank any of that? Like,
I mean, you just don't. You just
yes,
stand in
you don't.
awe of
Yeah,
it. Like,
like every movie you mentioned, somebody could be like, "That's the best Spielberg movie," and I couldn't even argue with them. I'd just be like, "Yeah, dude, fair. If that's your favorite, like, understandable."
yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think Minority Report's kind of a weird odd man out for some of those, but
I don't know. When was the last time you watched Minority Report, my friend?
pretty recently. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's really good. I don't know if I would say it's the same as like it's hard to put it in the same conversation as like Saving Private Ryan and
Well,
Munich,
yeah,
but
obviously not the Saving Private
like,
Ryan, but I don't know.
but
We
like
watched. I showed that movie to Heather not too long ago, and it was like, dude, this movie is just like,
yeah, Minority Report's spectacular though. Don't
yeah,
get me wrong, it's really good.
no one does it as good as Spielberg. If only Tom Cruise didn't go nuts in the early 2000s. Like, think of the other movies they could have made together.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah.
He pulled himself back from the brink, just like we're going to pull ourselves right now to our epic star ratings.
I'm Roger Ebert. In a scene from the best film of the decade. This is a great film.
Oh yeah.
All
Do you
right.
think Raj? All right. So now back to our earlier blurb. Do you think Raj was in on this movie?
There's no way Raj didn't like this movie. There's zero chance. I'm gonna guess 4 stars. We'll see.
4 stars. Close. He gave it 3.5 out of 4.
Okay.
He wrote, this premise could have yielded a film of contrivance and labored invention.
Yes.
Spielberg, his actors and writers weave it into a human comedy that is gentle and true, that creates sympathy for all of its characters, that finds a tone that will carry them through, that made me unreasonably happy.
Yes, exactly. Like I said, Ebert gets it. Because, like, that's exactly what I was saying before, which is like, this is a movie about a guy that's stuck at an airport, which is another way to say this could easily be very stupid and contrived. And somehow it's like this, like, amazing human tale. So, like, yeah, Ebert got it on this one. I knew
I
we would be
think
deep
back,
dive on this one.
I think back to Ian Malcolm. Spielberg finds a way.
Finds a way. Yeah, exactly. Like they could have phoned it in for this movie, and they absolutely did not. So like, yeah, Ebert, good call.
They gave Spielberg the script for this, and he was like, "I'm gonna fucking cook here."
Yeah,
So I'll turn it to you, Jim. Let's hear that final thought, final rating for the terminal.
I mean, listen, this may be controversial
Let's hear
because
him
I've
go.
given movies like Gladiator 4.5, and Castaway. What did I give Castaway? A three?
A threer on the Castaway.
Huge mistake. I'm giving Terminal a five. I'm doing it.
Oh,
I'm giving the Terminal a
wow.
five.
Man, from rags to riches. Jim went from not even looking forward to watching this to now he's got a 5-star classic on his hands.
Yeah, this is like one of my favorite movies that I've watched in like a long time. Like it really kind of blew me away.
Amazing. See, this is the beauty of the pod. Just think, you never would have had the terminal otherwise. Who
I
knows?
honestly don't think I ever would have watched this movie if we didn't do this show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, this is what the pod gives you. The pod is good. The pod is life.
Yeah. I'm
Give you the
even willing to
goods.
give it a five, even though I'm pretty sure it catches me up with you in terms of number of
It ju-
fives we've given you.
I was just gonna say, like, if I don't give this a 5, we are now tied in our 5-star ratings. And Jim, tied up, we are going to be. I'm going to be just underneath that out of 4. I do love everything about this movie, and it is fantastic, but I don't know that I can quite add it to the 5-star classics of some of the other ones that I've given. I think it's just underneath that. So I'm going with a 4. Still massively love everything about this movie though.
Yeah.
So with a 5er from you and a 4 from me, it's going to give us an overall score of 9. So we're gonna do some battles right now with some Niners. These are top tier Niners right now. So Jim, do you take the Terminal or do you take Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban?
I'm taking the terminal, dude.
I'm also taking the Terminal right there. Now, do you take the Terminal or do you take 2002's Spider-Man?
I'm taking the terminal.
Oh my Lord, dear Lord, my friend. I figured you would because you gave Spider-Man a 4, so obviously you're gonna go higher. I'm giving the nod to Spider-Man. Spider-Man is gonna be my pick one right there. And then your last battle for your Niners, Jim, is are you taking the Terminal or are you taking Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone? You're doing battle on a lot of 5s today. A lot of your fivers.
I'm taking Sorcerer's Stone. It doesn't quite
Ooh.
unthrone Sorcerer's Stone for
Oh
me.
man, but still,
Dude, Sorcerer's Stone is like a real strong 5 for me. It's like it's hard to beat that. I think the terminal's close, but I still take the first Harry Potter.
all right, that's fair. That works for me. So the Terminal is gonna breaks the top 10. It's gonna sit in the number 10 spot, tied with Spider-Man, just behind that Sorcerer's Stone, and just ahead, sandwiched between Sorcerer's Stone and Prisoner of Azkaban. And I think that's a beautiful spot for it. I'm totally on board
Yeah,
there.
I think that's gonna age well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna age a lot better than Castaway did, that's for sure.
Oh man.
Yeah, you're never gonna live that one down until you get to episode 100 and you can reshape the list.
Really quick, what did you give Castaway again?
I gave Castaway a 4.
So which would you take out of those two movies, The Terminal or Castaway? I'm curious.
I would take the Terminal.
I knew you would.
Mm. Yeah, I would take the Terminal over Castaway. But very very close to each other. Like
Yeah. In
I could
retrospect, I agree. I think they are pretty close.
yeah, I could see those being two movies that if you asked me on a given day, my answer could go either way. That's how
Yeah.
good both of those movies are.
I do think Spielberg kind of flexed on Castaway because he was like, I'm going to show you how being stranded at an airport is way more interesting than being stranded on a desert island.
It's like him and Zemeckis were just chilling at like a dinner one night, and he's like, "Watch this, Bobby."
Yeah, because I that was my biggest gripe about Castaway was he figures out the island in about 6 minutes. Like, there's like no obstacles in terms of what's going on that island. He's like, I don't know, I need to figure out how to crack open this coconut, and then like that's it, he did it. Like,
He just immediately becomes a full-fledged dentist on the island.
yeah, right, right.
Amazing. And this one is nothing but obstacles. So it's good. That's why Spielberg's the go, baby.
Hell yeah.
But we you already took your guess. We doing know what we're doing for next week. We're diving into Spider-Man 2. Probably the biggest movie of the summer for 2004. So that's going to be a fun one. I
Yeah.
feel like this is an easy one for us to dive into. I've watched this movie so many times that I probably could just blind do a pod on it like right
Dude,
now.
I can't wait. It's so much better than the original Spider-Man. I
I,
can't wait.
I never need an excuse to watch Spider-Man 2 again. Like that movie is the high watermark for superhero films.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about how the original Spider-Man kind of like sets the stage for all the Marvel movies that come, but I really feel like this might be the actual one. Like, I think this is the one where they were like, "Oh, okay, we can really cook."
They were like, we can pull this off. Like we got something here. So it's gonna be very, very fun to watch this movie again. Always love watching this movie. What you got anything you've been jamming on? What was the last thing you jammed on?
Uh, what was I watching? I've been watching a lot of Law and Order. They had
Oh
like the
yeah.
old seasons of Law and Order on Hulu.
Oh boy, that's a
Uh,
dangerous web to fall
dude,
into.
season 4 of Law and Order is like bringing the heat, dude.
Really?
They just had an episode where it was like the mom from Malcolm in the Middle played a character,
Nice.
and there was like a whole like like ransom drop that happened in the middle. Like, it was intense, dude. Season 4 of Law and Order is like aces. It's so good.
I've watched like random episodes here and there, but I've never actually like sat down and watched like a full season of it.
The
So
old episodes are really good, and like I had like a high opinion of them, and then like I rewatched like the first like 3 seasons, and I was kind of like, ah, this is still pretty good, but it's not as good as I remember. And then season 4 has just been like all fastballs, man.
oh,
Like,
they like finally hit their groove there. Like they knew
yes, they
exactly
like
like
hit
what
their
worked.
stride. Yeah,
Yeah,
what's his name? Jerry Orbach's on it now. Like he's kind of been on it for like a bunch of episodes. He's hitting his stride in there. It's really great. Season 4 of Law and Order.
they find their sweet spot at that point.
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm gonna have to maybe check some of those seasons out.
What about you? You've been watching anything?
Actually earlier
Mister, I
today,
don't really watch TV.
you're right, I don't really watch. I mean, I have been doing better with watching TV, but earlier today, we went and saw the new Ryan Coogler movie, Sinners.
Oh, how was Sinners?
Dude, fucking phenomenal.
I knew
Like
it would be.
it feels so good to actually have a good movie in theaters right now because 2025 has not been bringing the heat so far. It's been very middling so far. And watching this movie, even before the movie was over, I was like, I want to see this in theaters again.
Yeah, nice. I'm gonna go see
Don't
it this weekend, I
I
think.
don't get that feeling often, and
Yeah,
it is such a joy to get that feeling in a movie when like you know you're watching something special and you can't wait to see it again.
yeah. I
It's
think we
it's
talked about
it's
it on this show
masterful.
before, where like Michael B. Jordan specifically always feels like he kind of ropes me in, and like maybe to a lesser extent Ryan Coogler does the same thing. But this one, like, just the trailer looked so good for it, and like the premise looked like it had so much juice behind it. And then, you know what the real like cake topper was for me?
What?
They've been playing ads for it on some of the podcasts I listen to. And when I realized that Michael B. Jordan is playing identical twins, Smoke and Stack,
Well,
I was like, dude, I'm in.
no, he plays one of the twins. His brother, Michael A. Jordan, plays the other one.
No, shut up. You really had me there for a second. I was like, wait, I could have sworn the ad said Michael B. Jordan played both of them. uh,
But
no, but you know I'm a sucker, and you know why I'm a sucker for like big name actors playing
uh,
identical twins in a
oh
movie.
yeah,
It's just like, and especially with like the novelty kind of names, like I'm so in, dude.
yeah. It's so good, and I don't want to really say too much about it
No,
because
don't,
yeah
because it was on my radar, and after that recommendation, I'm 1,000% seeing it this
yeah
weekend.
it's
Definitely.
it's a movie that is best to go in knowing as little as possible about it.
Yeah, because that's the other thing that I think has been really good about the ad campaign. Whereas like I kind of have a gist of like what the movie's about. It's like they go home and there's vampires, but if that's all I know, like there's probably so much cool shit going on.
Yeah, it's great. It's phenomenal. It's easily my favorite movie that Coogler and Michael B. Jordan have done. It's great. I can't give enough high praise out there. By the time this episode drops, the movie will been out for a few weeks, so hopefully out there in the world, people you've gone and seen it. But if by some reason you haven't yet, if there's any recommendation that we've given on this pod so far that you can take to the bank and should like do, Sinners is the movie to go see and go see it on the biggest screen possible. Like don't wait for at home. Go to the theater and see this movie.
Yeah, I'm gonna go this weekend, and I'll report back to you
Yeah,
probably on
yeah,
our next
definitely
episode.
report back to me on the next episode. Let me know what you thought of it. I'm sure you'll text me it after if after you've seen it too. But
Yeah,
it's
I'm
yeah,
sure.
it's easily the best thing that's come out so far this year, and honestly, the best thing that's come out in a while. It's the first movie since Top Gun Maverick where I was like, I need to see this in theaters again. Like I can't wait till like it comes out. I need to go watch this again before it leaves theaters.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably see it twice, honestly. If you're feeling that strongly about it, I'm sure I will too.
It was great. So go out there, people. Go check it out. Maybe catch some old seasons of Law and Order. Go out there, form your own opinions for these movies. Let us know down in the comments below what you think of them. And join us here next week when we dive in to Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2. And as always, we'll see you at the movies.